In this talk today, I will be speaking about using the virtual environment Second Life in higher education to support student-centered learning. I will outline the advantages and disadvantages of using Second Life and speculate on what the future might look like for this technology. Firstly, allow me to clarify what I mean when talking about student-centered learning. It is aligned to constructivist learning theory and is an approach to education which puts the teacher in the role of a facilitator. Student-centered learning acknowledges student voice as central to the learning experience and promotes peer-to-peer interaction and collaborative thinking by learning through real-life experiences. In my talk today, I would like to focus on scenario-based learning as the example of student-centered learning in higher education. Scenario-based learning could be used in practically any higher education course. It is certainly not limited to health professional education. However, in this presentation, I will be focusing on the use of scenario-based learning and student-centered learning in teaching medical topics. Secondly, what is Second Life? Created in 2003, originally as a social network, Second Life is a 3D multi-user virtual environment in which users, known as residents, interact and collaborate with each other by the use of avatars. The Second Life software is free to download and to create an account. Residents inhabit a virtual world free of predetermined goals or tasks. Communication in Second Life is via the usual social media formats, with the addition of avatar gestures, which have the advantage of being able to convey a mood or simulate an action. Second Life has 1 million active accounts, with a median of 42,000 residents logged on at any one time daily. Residents can use Second Life's modeling tools to build virtual objects out of simple geometric shapes. Combined with textures and a scripting language which allows avatars to interact with the objects, this means that residents can extend and contribute to the world around them, creating buildings, skins, clothing, objects, or even animations as they see fit. This flexibility in the environment has been a large drawcard for real-life institutions to create and customize their own space. Educational institutions have taken advantage of this ability to customize a virtual environment and have set up campuses on Second Life islands where classes meet and students interact in real time. Some educators have seen benefits in teaching distance education through a virtual environment, providing a more engaging experience for students rather than asynchronous text communication in the form of a message board. Second Life provides a sense of presence and community to students who may otherwise have not had the opportunity to meet. Aside from the sense of presence that Second Life can provide, the immersive nature of Second Life can provide a compelling educational experience in relation to simulation, scenario development, and role-playing. In short, constructivist learning experiences. A major benefit in medical education is that educators can simulate a real-life scenario or event, such as crisis response, surgery, or lab work, without students being put in danger or in a scenario they may not be ready to face. Or perhaps the students have the appropriate medical knowledge but need practice in executing a scenario. By emulating the clinical reality that students will eventually face, there is potential for practical learning outcomes and competencies to be achieved. An example of this can be seen in the University of Otago, New Zealand, who have implemented Second Life as part of the medical course curriculum. Using scenario-based learning in the Otago Virtual Hospital, medical students role-play as junior doctors and provide consultation and care to virtual patients in real-life scenarios. Students are assessed on compassion as well as their medical knowledge, similar to an objective structured clinical examination. Similarly, the discipline of surgery at the University of Sydney created a virtual hospital with simulated patients with supported histories and lab results based on current cases, in an effort to create a virtual problem-based learning task. This project, however, no longer exists. Of the 22 students surveyed about this project, 90% of the participants were enthusiastic about the concept of using a virtual environment to participate in a problem-based learning task. Aside from these examples of scenario-based learning and problem-based learning in Second Life, Second Life has also been used to simulate a perspective of a patient, which can give students valuable insight during their diagnosis. One example is the UC Davis Virtual Hallucination Space in Second Life, which allows a resident to experience the inner psychological state of a patient that suffers from schizophrenia. Flinders University in South Australia has also purchased an island for a multitude of educational projects and resources for students. One such project uses Second Life to role-play mental health assessment. This allows paramedic students to undertake patient assessment of anxiety, psychosis and depression, which they then can apply intervention to and monitor consequences of in an environment that is lifelike but doesn't pose a risk to human life. Another example at Flinders University is the Department of Environmental Health CSI workshop, which involves students investigating a Legionnaire's disease outbreak in a gym created in the virtual world. The advantage of this type of scenario-based learning is that students can be exposed to conditions where they can apply regulatory and advisory aspects of their profession in a safe space, one that historically students would be unable to participate in due to legal and public health reasons. There are downsides to using Second Life, however. There is a cost for a university to purchase an island and to develop resources. There is also an implicit cost for students who are accessing Second Life from home. They will need a computer capable of running Second Life and a consistent internet connection. Also, due to the fact that Second Life is a new experience for many students, there is a learning curve on how to use the software, and this needs to take place before they can participate in the learning activity. This cognitive load can cause frustration for users. Also, because the environment is commonly open to the public, there is occasionally unwanted residents invading the teaching group space or causing grief or interrupting the scenario. Cost is cited as the major reason for a recent loss in momentum in the uptake of Second Life in educational environments. As you can see in the graph in this slide, there is an overall downturn of residents who own and manage their own private island or space. Second Life peaked in residents owning their own estate in late 2008. At this time there was quite a lot of excitement in the field of virtual environments, which has since slowed. However, I believe Second Life and multi-user virtual environments in general can still play a large role in the future of higher education, especially in fields that rely on scenario-based or problem-based learning in their curriculum. I believe the advantages of using an immersive space such as Second Life outweigh the disadvantages. With the advent of new technologies in haptic feedback and virtual reality, the advantages will continue to grow. Linden Labs, the creators of Second Life, have recently announced support for a virtual reality headset called Oculus Rift, which, using a head-mounted display, could improve the immersive nature of Second Life. Researchers in the University of Ottawa in Canada have also created a haptic jacket, which allows users to feel avatar interactions like hugging and tickling in real life. I speculate on whether this possible new level of immersiveness could open up avenues in education, perhaps allowing greater empathy with the patient, or to simulate a more engaging or real lifelike scenario. Mobile phone applications, which are currently available, have expanded the ability for users to connect to Second Life and other multi-user virtual environments whenever they like. Apps such as Mobile Grid Client and Lumia give the user a 3D view much the same as a PC does, as well as the ability to teleport to any location, communicate and collaborate as seamlessly as you would on a PC at home. Integration with social media tools such as Facebook have also opened up an avenue of social interaction. Finally, with the development of new web-based technologies such as WebGL and HTML5 as programming languages, I'd speculate on whether web browser integration, perhaps a version of Second Life could be developed that would run natively in a web browser, lowering the barrier of entry. Finally, I'd like to speculate on using these current and upcoming technologies to create a comprehensive problem or scenario-based learning task that spans multiple disciplines. Perhaps an interprofessional education task for classes at different points in their studies. For example, perhaps a medical student could begin a scenario in the second year of their course where they have enough knowledge to diagnose a simple problem, in which they could then refer a patient to a nutrition student who is in their last year of study on placement, who could then apply learnt knowledge and real-life experience to practice tasks that they may be beginning to do on a placement. Thank you for watching this presentation today. I would recommend downloading Second Life and trying it yourself. For more information on higher education examples, statistics in Second Life, or the future technologies mentioned, please have a look at the links listed in this slide.